Hi everybody, I am the Reading Tortie and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing the book review for World Without End by Ken Follett. I don't know who taped the cover. I don't know if it was me because I bought this book used. But you know, you never know. Tortie does weird things at weird times for bizarre reasons. So, World Without End by Ken Follett, the second in the Kingsbridge series, and my favorite book of the Kingsbridge series. So, yeah. As you can tell, I kind of noted a little bit. And I'm sure I needed to note a heck of a lot more, but this book is so massive. It is what it is. So, it was published by Penguin in 2007, and it takes place between the years of 1327 and 1361 against the backdrop of the Black Plague. So, this book follows the lives of the people of Kingsbridge, Wigley, against the building of Caris's Hospital and Merthin's Tower. So, the characters are Merthin, Caris, Gwenda, and Ralph, later to be Wulfric, Godwin, and Philemon. So, Merthin is a very architecturally inclined young man who, you learn from the get-go, is in love with Caris. Gwenda is the daughter of Toby, a guy who's pretty scummy, who is a thief, and so she's very poor. All she's ever known is to either be abused or exploited by her swindling father. So she has a really bad upbringing. And Gwenda falls in love with Wulfric. Godwin is Caris's cousin, who you come to find out later is pretty sleazy, slimy, and he's like the character that you don't like. Philemon is Godwin's sleazy underling, who is also the brother of Gwenda. So this is a very tight-knit cast, and from the very first 5 pages, these kids are involved in this secret pact, essentially, because a Sir Thomas Langley, who later becomes one of the monks at the Priory of Kingsbridge, stabs a man to death and buries something questionable, which later we find out what it is. So these kids are very early on thrown together by fate, and they stay like that. And the story is really centered around these people. So Merthin and Caris have, in true Ken Follett tradition, a doomed love story, but it's possibly one of the most romantic love stories ever. And it takes so many twists and turns, but the romance between Caris and Merthin is possibly one of the most beautiful love stories I have ever read in my life. And it's real, and it's painful, and it sucks. And circumstances, because first of all, of Godwin's just a jerk off. And circumstances keep them from being together. And so, Merthin has to go off and try to be somebody because Caris makes decisions that make her into a nun. Because Godwin decides that she's a witch because she is in the way of Godwin's advancements in the Priory. Godwin is a very conservative, misogynistic, obsessively religious person who's actually extremely amoral and really just slimy and sleazy. I hate Godwin. He's really annoying. And he has this really bizarre obsession with Caris that's really built upon in the miniseries, which is also fantastic and you should totally go watch. So Ralph is Merthin's brother, his brute brother, because Ralph is just an animal. And him and Gwenda, from the very beginning of the story, have a very interesting, unfortunate relationship. So, Gwenda's possibly one of the most hardened characters I've ever read and that Ken Follett has ever created. Caris is very mature, quick-minded, and astute, and a great businesswoman, and she's very mature. Gwenda is mature, hardened. She's had to make decisions Karis can't even fathom, really. And so Gwenda's relationship with Ralph is something that keeps going throughout the story. Because of certain things, he fathers a child with her, and that keeps them connected throughout their life. And Ralph's really unhealthy view of women, who to him they're just objects to go rape, quite literally, really is interesting with his dynamic with Gwenda, because he sees her differently. Because Gwenda is so just like abrasive upfront, Wolford tells her that she acts like a man, and Gwenda's like, I don't care, I've had to do this to live. So I think Ralph, in his own sick way, really likes it, and I'm always fascinated by his own fascination with Gwenda. So it's really, really interesting. Karis is one of my most favorite lady characters. Gwenda is one of my most favorite badass characters, because, like I said, Gwenda goes around killing people because she has to, or else she'll be screwed. And she's like, what happened? You know, people are like, oh, what happened? Is nothing. He just fell off his horse. Don't worry about it. I'm like, oh, dang, you're so hardened. So I really like her. Philemon is Gwenda's brother. And he becomes very ambitious like Godwin. And so he is always just trying to get ahead, no matter what sleazy thing he has to do. And then Godwin's mom is also kind of like, don't like the woman whatsoever. Really don't like her in the miniseries. I hate her guts. So the setting is in Kingsbridge, Wiggly, and you travel a little bit because when the plague hits, chaos just obviously erupts. Frickin' Godwin decides, like, I'm noping out of here and going somewhere else because the plague's broken out. And so Karis has to go on trips to see the king, to see the bishop. And so you get to travel a little bit, but it mostly centers around Kingsbridge and trying to keep the people of Kingsbridge alive and clean when the plague is spreading like actual wildfire. So it's really alive, really amazing, and it's very realistic. You see people's businesses crumble, you see families break apart, people committing suicide because this is just a horrible way to die. And you see Karis struggling with the superstitious religious ways of the people in her nunnery against, like, just logic, scientific hygiene. So it's really well done, and it's really frustrating when people kind of go against Karis, and I'm just like, you're gonna die, and I'm not gonna feel bad for you because you decide to try to screw over Karis. And you know, lo and behold, they get the plague, because no, it's not a disease from God, it's just a disease from rats and stuff that you can get, even though you're this self-righteous, annoying individual. So really, really interesting. The dynamic between Karis and Myrthen is also tested because of her ascension in the nunnery, because of her being the Mother Superior, because she decides that her career is more important than her relationship with Myrthen. And it's really heart-wrenching. And while I do wish that she would have married him from the get-go, because Myrthen is a very progressive man who wouldn't have been like, you're not my property, her not marrying Myrthen in the end saves her life. And so you see them struggle with their circumstance, with their superstitious time period, with just people that don't understand that religion isn't the end-all be-all. God isn't the end-all be-all. And God isn't going to come and strike you down because you have a misplaced mole on your body and you're suddenly a witch. So seeing them struggle is really powerful, especially when other people that Karis is around are having affairs, and they're the ones that are, you can't have an affair, and she's just looking at them like, you are. What is wrong with this? And so it's really frustrating and really heart-wrenching to see their relationship and to see the Black Death and to see just everything happening and Karis getting everything she's ever worked for taken away from her because she's a woman, because she's a nun, because it's just actually a man's world in the 1300s. You have no rights as a female. And it sucks. And Merton doesn't think it's right. So many people in the town don't think it's right because she was one of the most successful merchants ever. And because Godwin decided to be a jerk and that she was in his way, she ends up being a nun and she ends up having to be subservient to the priory. By default, Godwin and Philemon. So it's just really dramatic. And I don't think I've been so attached to a set of characters as I have with this one. The plot is pretty much what I've been talking about. Just following their lives as they struggle against circumstance, Mother Nature, diseases, and trying to do the best for the people of Kingsbridge that are not trying to screw them over. They do their best for the people of Kingsbridge, Karis and her hospital, despite the fact that so many people are trying to screw her over. So it's just brilliant. And then, so there's a moment where Karis has everything taken from her. She loses absolutely everything. And she is just at the lowest point of her entire life. And when Philemon tries to go and get her and try to make himself better and stuff like that, she just kind of slaps him in the face with reality, screw you, I have nothing, there's nothing you can take from me, I'm over this. And although that was such a sad moment for Karis, although it was her at her lowest point, it was such a powerful statement telling him, I'm done with you. You cannot control me anymore, no matter what. And it was one of the most satisfyingly heartbreaking moments of the entire book for me. So, the plot is just amazing. I think so anyways. The resolution. The conflict is what I've been rambling about, sorry y'all. The resolution is beautiful. It's satisfying, but Ken Follett with the resolution, the way it's done here, really shows that just because you dislike someone and they're slimy sleazeballs that don't deserve to live, doesn't mean they die. So, the ending doesn't have all of the characters that I've been hoping die with some other plague has killed off all these good people. Die. It ends in a very realistic note. So, I really love it. I love that Merton designs the angel at the top of his tower to be Karis. And that's Karis' angel. And Karis is like, oh my gosh, is that okay? And Merton's like, what are they going to do? Climb up here? Nobody would. So the ending was so beautiful, lovely. I loved seeing that they were finally together. I loved seeing the happily ever after. Even though it's not perfect, that it's still beautiful. So the ending was poetic. One of the most satisfying endings ever. I think I sat there and I cried. I finished this at 5 in the morning because I refused to put the book down. And it just consumed me so much. So, World Without End, by far my favorite of the 3 Kingsbridge books. Then Pillars of the Earth, and then A Column of Fire. But, yeah. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff. And let's have a discussion, because I would love to talk about this with anybody that wants to talk about it with me, because this book is just so amazing. I love this book so much. If you guys ever pick up at least one historical fiction, pick this one up. It's fantastic. It has love, it has intrigue, it has just horrible stuff going wrong. It has sleazy slime balls that manipulate situations and good people get screwed over. It has everything, drama and deaths, and it's just brilliant. I think the only thing it's missing is incest, but it's implied somewhere, I'm sure, but it's fantastic. So, this book has it all. I love it so much. Please read it. Please pick it up. Talk to me about it once you've read it. Just someone talk to me about this book. I love this book so much. And let me know what you guys thought about the Kingsbridge series as a whole, about this book, about the Pillars of the Earth. I don't care. Talk to me about Worlds to That End, about Carison, Murthen, Gwenda, and Wulfric. Somebody, just Ralph and Gwenda. What do you guys think about Ralph and Gwenda? Because I was just like, this is so complicated for me to sort through my feelings about you two. And Godwin. Who else hates Godwin? Just let me know your opinions about anything. Let's have a discussion. Let's just discuss the hell out of this book because it's so amazing. And I guess that's it. So I'm just going to keep saying, let's talk about this book. So clearly, I love that book. And the entire Kingsbridge series is phenomenal. So, historical fiction, pick up the Kingsbridge series. It's great. You may or may not regret it, but I really don't think you will. And if you do, I am so sorry. But I still recommend it. So on that note, thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for supporting me, and please be safe, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!